Thank you, Mayor Coroon. And would you believe we have short-winded political candidates? So we're running a little ahead of schedule, and we might just get you out a little bit early today. I want to share with you some information about the Utah Priorities Project and discuss the results of our survey that kicks off this project. And first of all, I want to thank Governor Gary Herbert and Mayor Peter Coroon. Thank you for coming today for this joint appearance to speak to us about your priorities as you campaign. I also want to mention just very briefly that we had a call this morning from Governor Herbert's campaign. People wanting to know if they could distribute some literature, and we said fine. But when we tried to get a hold of Mayor Coroon's campaign, the message didn't get through. So I apologize that you have some campaign information from the governor, but not from the mayor. So votecoroon.com is where you can find the information for Mayor Coroon's campaign for governor. And the information that you have from Governor Herbert has his website on there, I imagine, as well. So sorry about that mix-up. All right, so this year we are celebrating our 65th year at Utah Foundation, providing nonpartisan factual information on issues that matter in public policy for Utah. We provide that information to voters, to candidates, businesses, nonprofits, individuals, and all kinds of policymakers in government at all levels. This is a fundraising luncheon for Utah Foundation, so I want to thank every one of you for coming, for the contribution that you made in purchasing a table or a ticket. It's generous and it helps us to do this work, and so we really appreciate your help in helping us to continue this important work. Okay, this is the third time that we have done a Utah Priorities project. It has four goals: serious dialogue on the issues that matter most to Utahns, inform voters who understand the issues and how candidates will try to solve problems, inform voters who understand the issues, and inform candidates who engage in substantive debate and discussion, and a clear agenda of issues to follow after the election is over. And we did this in 2004. In 2008, we didn't expect to be doing it so soon in 2010, but here we are with a special election. And this is something that we do during gubernatorial election races, and we also focus on some of the other races. You may see some things from us regarding the U.S. Senate race in the near future as well. How is this project conducted? We accomplish the goals of the project through these methods. We have Dan Jones and Associates conduct a survey to help us determine the top 10 issues at the beginning of the year. We conduct forums and debates with candidates and policy experts through the Hinckley Institute of Politics. We're grateful for their participation as a partner in this project. Kurt, thank you. And then we conduct Utah Foundation research on each of the issues. Well, this year we're going to do the top 5 issues. Publish research reports with more facts and information about these issues, about things that are going on in other states to try to address these issues, and what Utah's history is with some data and information on it. We'll conduct some additional surveys this year. In the past, we've just done the one survey at the beginning of the year, and we'll have some additional surveys through this election cycle to understand more about how voters' opinions are changing on the issues and how they feel about how candidates are addressing the issues. So for now, let's talk about this initial Utah Priorities survey. In your packet, you have a summary of the survey, which we are releasing today on our website. And you'll also find on our website at utahfoundation.org, you'll find a copy of an 80-page report from Dan Jones and Associates that has much more detail on all of these questions that were asked and on the answers. So the survey was conducted February 23rd to March 2nd, a sample of 604 registered voters, giving us a margin of error of plus or minus 4%. And the data are weighted for age and religion, and when they, pollsters tell us when they wait for those things, it helps to weight implicitly for party affiliation and a number of other things. So from this survey, we asked questions about 19 potential issues and narrowed them down to the top 10 issues on voters' minds. And the way we did this is on most of the questions we asked, what is your level of concern about an issue? Rate it from 1 to 5. 1 being not at all concerned, 5 being very concerned about the issue. And as you can see on the sign here and on the screens, the number one issue, jobs and the economy. This is an issue that was high in the priority list in 2004 when we were just recently coming out of that early 2000s recession, dropped off the top 10 list in 2008 as we didn't fully realize it was starting to hit us at that point, and is back now as the number one issue. Number two, government spending. Three, K through 12 education, then healthcare, ethics of elected officials. That is a new issue showing up in the top 10 this time. Taxes, energy issues, which was number one last time we did this in 2008. States' rights versus the federal government. This is also an issue that is new in the top 10 this year. Environmental issues, which have been around this place in the top 10 each time we've done this survey. And immigration, which has dropped a little, was number 5 last time around and is now number 10 in the top 10. So we started with a question, is Utah headed in the right direction? And what you see on the screen is a graph that shows the results from 2004, 2008, and the 2010 survey. And you can clearly see that this year there is a bump in the number of people who feel that Utah's on the wrong track, with 36% feeling that way. But also, we've got 51% of Utahns saying that it is heading in the right direction. So a bare majority still feel that the state's heading in the right direction. I think it's clear that the economy influences this question, but it's a serious jump in the wrong track score. And when more than 2/3 of Utahns back in 2008 thought they were heading in the right direction, now just a bare majority do. There are some concerns there, and those of you who are candidates for office need to take that into consideration as you're thinking of your strategies this year. Next, we asked, is Utah's quality of life better than it was 5 years ago? And in this one, you can clearly see also that the number of people who think that the quality of life is worse, those who say somewhat worse, are 41% of the respondents. And I want to mention that the respondents in this poll are registered voters. It's not just the general public, but it's registered voters. And so only 16% of voters think that the quality of life is better than 5 years ago when you add up those that think it's much better or those that think it's somewhat better. Only 3% thought it was much better. And so serious concerns about quality of life, big swing in the percentage that are dissatisfied with quality of life here. But when you couple that with the previous question about whether we're headed in the right direction, and there's still a bare majority that say we are, perhaps there's some sentiment among Utah voters that we have some leadership that is pointing us in the right direction, even though it's a very difficult environment. Okay, so we asked some follow-up questions, not on all of the issues, but on some of the ones that we knew would be hot topics. And so on the economy, we asked some specific questions about jobs and working. Well, this is the overall question on jobs and the economy. And you can see that 53% of Utah voters are very concerned about jobs and the economy. This up from only 25% who felt that way in 2008. So obviously the recession is impacting people. Most people in Utah now either have a friend, family member, or themselves that has lost work or has reduced income because of this recession, and is certainly touching people directly. So that has changed dramatically. This question has been in each of our surveys since 2004, and this is the highest that level of concern has been. And that's not surprising. We keep hearing that this recession is the Great Recession, the biggest recession since the Depression. And so it's understandable that that would be the biggest concern that we've seen on the economy in the years that we've been doing this. So then to the specific questions about jobs and working in Utah, we wanted to get to the root of what voters' concerns about the economy really are. So the availability of jobs turned out to be the #1 issue, and the ability of young Utahns to find jobs that allow them to stay in the state was a close second. The two are probably statistically tied. And then you get to the next 3 below that, and they would be statistically tied as well, with wage levels helping Utah companies grow in the state and quality of jobs available in Utah. You'll note that we had 2 questions about companies growing in the state. One of them was bringing companies to Utah from out of state, and the other was this helping Utah companies grow in the state. There's clearly a preference by voters that they'd like to see an emphasis on helping Utah companies grow more than helping companies come here from out of state. But still, all of these registered a pretty high level of concern, over 3.5 for the ones that I've mentioned so far, on a scale of 1 to 5.